Hello, and welcome to my review of AEW Dynamite Grand Slam 2024, which kicked off with a bit of Oasis, and Nigel McGuinness came out, and obviously awaited Bryan Danielson. And I put in my notes, the first note I made here was "No Europe equals no Danielson?" because it was his other theme song that kicked in, and sure enough, he didn't come out. Then Nigel McGuinness got on the microphone and demanded the referee do a 10 count and then award him the victory by count out. And I was like, so the music hits at 9, right? And I think it was actually 8 that Europe, the final countdown, hit. And I was like, as soon as they played Europe, I was like, yeah, they haven't paid for the final countdown to not bring out Danielson, because I believe they pay for it on a show-by-show basis because it's so damn expensive to license that song. So, yeah, once that music hit, Danielson was always coming out, and I put Showtime. This was less noticeable and prominent throughout, like, later in the show, or I thought I just got used to it, but early on, I noted that JR's microphone sounded funny, and even questioned at one point if he's not in the arena, if he was, like, on the call, kind of thing, because his audio just sounded different to everyone else's. Like, the microphone sounded different. It sounded more muffled, like slightly lower quality, like maybe from a decent home setup rather than a professional multi-million-dollar wrestling company set up in an arena after 5 years of experience quality. You know, like, yeah, it just sounded weird. I don't know what everyone thinks of that. I don't remember seeing the commentary team throughout the show. But maybe someone who was paying more attention to those cutaways, if there were any, could let me know. Was JR even there? I assume he was, but it did raise the question for me early on. Because, yeah, it just sounded funny. Anyway, this was a really fun match. The whole story was obviously Nigel McGuinness working the arm and having that arm submission. The Shankly Gates. What does McGuinness call it? It's gone 3 o'clock in the morning, guys. I'm pooped, and this was the first match. I've already forgotten. But a good point was made on commentary that Bryan Danielson broke his arm against Okada last year and has had all the well-advertised neck issues. And Nigel McGuinness's 2 main weapons target the arm and the neck. So yeah, well equipped for this battle. I'm not gonna review matches like play-by-play style. If you want to know exactly what happened in the matches, I thoroughly recommend you watch them. You know, like, that's the best way. So I'll just talk about the finish, which was with his arm being worked all show. There was some great detail with Danielson not being able to lock in the S-grip on the label lock and having to sort of use his right arm almost as a weapon, with his left arm just sort of grabbing the wrist and you pulling back on it, like yanking back on it, instead of like the usual grip. But he managed to make McGuinness submit, and I didn't catch it, but he definitely said or yelled something. And on commentary, someone mentioned, did McGuinness just say thank you before tapping out? So I guess that's like the thing of, like, maybe this was just a 2 and done thing for McGuinness. Like, he got his Wembley moment, he got his match with Danielson, and that's it. He's done. Like, you know, that was on his terms. Maybe that is it. I did see a YouTube video where someone was talking about, McGuinness had talked about what after this match, what's next. But I didn't watch it, and I didn't read any articles about it, so I don't know what he said on the matter. He was probably fairly cryptic, because obviously it was before this match. So saying, oh yeah, this is going to be the last match, kind of gives away the fact that he's going to lose in a way. So, yeah, I'll be curious to see where that goes from here. Then Christian Cage comes out with his contract for a world title shot anytime, and he's about to sign it. Apparently he has to actually sign it to say, I want it now, instead of just handing over the contract like in WWE. And then Kip Sabian steals his pen, which was just pretty funny. Christian chased after Sabian, nearly runs into Pac and Claudio Castagnoli backstage, but then nothing comes of those two lurking, even though Danielson's in the ring. I don't know. It was an interesting little feature for them, I guess, like, to just be there, but nothing came of it. Anyway, up next was Hook defending the FTW Championship against Roderick Strong. Really nice touch. I want to talk for a minute about how much I love Hook and his great little character, like, details, his little in-character moments. Like, I love the fact that he just leans on the turnbuckle with his back to his opponents. But he was leaning on the turnbuckle where the Undisputed Kingdom wanted to pose, and Matt Taven wanted to be on that turnbuckle to complete the pose. And Hook just didn't move. And I love that. I love I like, without doing anything overly weird and wacky, Hook is really unique at the same time, and I'm here for it. I've been a big fan since day one. I know a lot of people were big fans basically from day one. Like, you know, he caught fire quick and seems to have like fizzled out a little bit through mismanagement, misbooking. But yeah, I just love those little details. Another little detail was he basically walked straight through the middle of Mike Bennett and Matt Taven to get to Roderick Strong on the outside, even though it's a no DQ match and they could happily attack him. He just walked straight through the middle of them, like, out the way, boys. And just stuff like that, really, his just dilly-gaff attitude is just great. I love it. It's a decent, shortish match. The opening match went quite long, so I knew everything else on the show was going to be reasonably short. That was always going to be the longest match on the show, I felt. And this was a good win for Hook. Although I did put, I'm not sure why Bennett and Taven didn't interfere when he had Red Room locked in, considering they were both fine and dandy on the outside and had tried to interfere previously in the match. And their friend was in trouble, and it's no disqualification. Like, I don't know, just seemed weird that they didn't break it up. Oh, by the way, yeah, I predicted Danielson to beat McGuinness, and I predicted Hook to beat Roderick Strong, so 2 from 2. I should talk about that. After the match, Roderick Strong offered a handshake, which even Taz was cynical of on commentary, but they shook hands, Roddy pulled him in for a hug, and then Hook went out the ring to have a chat with Tony Schiavone. And I even put, before he spoke, retiring it, and then, yep. And then I put, good call, to be honest, do I get a bonus point? Because I actually mentioned that in my predictions video, that I think that's what they're going to do. He gave the title back to Taz, and they had a hug. It was a really nice touch, a really nice moment. Excalibur on commentary called it an unexpected move. Really? Well, I expected it, and I don't think I'm the only person. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. And then I put in the notes, now, move Hook up the card immediately. Like, give him that TNT title, although Jack Perry's doing good stuff with it at the moment. Give him something. Have him beat Okada. Screw it. Go whole hog. Like, let's do it. Anyway, next match, tag titles. Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks. I put here, I'm trying not to play-by-play the matches, but the EVP trigger countered into a double ass cutter was just crazy. It needs to be seen. It was. Yeah, how do those two moves even counter into each other, you might be asking. Well, go and watch it. Great fun. It was fairly early in the match, that, as well. Tony Schiavone on commentary later in the match said this is one of the best tag team matches we've had in forever. And I'm inclined to agree. I've been quite critical of AEW's tag matches and trios matches and over-reliance on big multi-man team matches recently. And the fact that they all kind of feel the same. Now, this match, don't get me wrong, still kind of followed the same formula of, like, loads of dramatic pinfall breakups and near falls and, you know, flash double teams and big multi-man moments and stuff, like, you know, but it did feel different somehow and better. I really enjoyed this match, and I haven't really enjoyed an AEW tag match in quite a while, if I'm being perfectly honest. They've all been good, they've all been fine, but that's not where the bar is in AEW for tag wrestling. You know, so they've felt a bit lackluster. But this one, no, this was great. So towards the end of the match, Don Callis gave Kyle Fletcher a screwdriver, but Will Ospreay stopped Kyle Fletcher from using it. And then the Bucks cheated and used the tag belts to take out Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. Fletcher kicked out, but then got hit with the BTE trigger for the 3. And Will Ospreay was still struggling on the outside from the belt shot, so couldn't make the save. I predicted them to retain, 3 from 3. I even predicted the Will Ospreay Don Callis family. Where's Kyle Fletcher going to fall on this kind of friction coming into play, which I don't think was the most mind-blowing. I was going to say brain-blowing. I'm too tired. Most mind-blowing prediction of all time, but. Technically, I'm 3 from 3 on matches and 2 from 2 on story beats outside of matches as well. So, like, I'm cooking. I was cooking on my predictions video. I did predict everything though. I predicted all the way up to Collision. So, who knows what right now, as I'm recording this, they're recording and making me look silly for saying this on Collision where I get everything wrong. Like, I don't know. I'll find out on Saturday. I'm not going to look up the results. Anyway, next we went backstage with Renee Paquette interviewing the conglomeration and Rocky Romero, and Rocky was officially welcomed into the conglomeration, so now you don't need the and Rocky Romero. Mark Briscoe showed some merch very briefly, then got on to talking about the Briscoes and how they were just down the road from the Briscoes' last match together, like Jay's last match. And then obviously went on to talk about the Collision match and beating the Learning Tree, and in a very Mark Briscoe way, and it was fun, lovely stuff. Word of the day is vociferous. Also, if anyone was wondering. So there you go. Again, when I talk about Hook and his little character details, Orange Cassidy just not bothering to walk off with the rest of them because they're all hyped up and storming off and shouting and stuff, and Orange Cassidy is just not about that life, so he just sort of stands there, like doesn't have anything else to say to Renee, just stands there. Love it. Next, Tony Schiavone was at the top of the entrance ramp and brought out Prince Nana to do an interview. Obviously, he did his little swerve when I drive dance, because of course he does. And then talked about how Swerve won't be mentally defeated, but currently he's not physically cleared to compete. And then he's interrupted by MVP, which was fun. MVP really bigged up Swerve, and then I was like waiting for the butt because it really felt like there was a butt coming. And I put in my notes, Lashley, ? But no, Lashley didn't show. Although that may be where they're going with this eventually. MVP, but essentially blamed Prince Nana for the sort of recent misfortunes of Swerve and the recent sort of downfall, and particularly the fact that Bryan Danielson and Hangman Adam Page are okay after having taken things from Swerve. Like, that he's lost his edge is what MVP was kind of getting at. And then MVP hands his card to Prince Nana to pass on to Swerve for when he wants to talk. He said something about wanting to talk business, and obviously really emphasized the word business because Hurt Business, and everyone was like, ooh, and I was a bit like, ooh, to be fair. So yeah, fun times coming, and I do think Lashley's coming to AEW because of the name dropping of the Hurt Business. The partial name drop, and just they work really well as a unit, MVP and Lashley. Next, we saw Jack Perry's bus driving towards the Arthur Ashe Stadium, and they bigged up his TNT Championship Open Challenge. I didn't predict that because I didn't know about it. It was announced after I recorded my predictions, but before the predictions video went up, so that's great. Thanks for that, AEW, announcing that on Twitter. I'm going to throw a wild stab in the dark out there and say Adam Copeland to answer and win. Why not? It'd be fun, right? So I'm literally recording this. It is now 3:23 in the morning UK time. Dynamite finished at 3. So yeah, I don't know what's going on Collision. That's just my random stab in the dark. Anyway, up next, Yuka Sakazaki challenging Mariah May for the Women's Championship. And I've made a note here that there's 33 minutes remaining for this and Mox and Darby. And I put, this is going to be quick. Sakazaki started things off with a springboard to the outside during Mariah May's entrance. It was a frantic 8-minute match, which, when you consider how much of the show was women's wrestling and how much wasn't, is a bit disrespectful. But at the same time, no disrespect to Yuka Sakazaki, but with their recent placement on the card and sort of the perceived threat, I don't want Mariah May taking 20 minutes to beat Yuka Sakazaki. Does that mean there shouldn't be some other women's stuff on the show? Absolutely not. There should have been. But should this match in particular have been much longer? Nah, maybe it could have gone to like 11-12, but anything beyond that I think would have felt a bit much. This should have been quite one-sided. And it wasn't that one-sided. Yuka got some licks in and what have you. Mariah May gave her plenty of offense, but this was never in any doubt. There's no point in dragging it out. Everyone knew Mariah May was retaining her. She retained with the Storm Zero. I went 4 from 4 on predictions. I noticed in this match there was a few dodgy missed kickouts, like where it was like 1, 2, kick out, where the referee sort of hovered her hand because, like, yeah, it was just Yeah, not good. Not good. You need to get those kickouts like before the 3, preferably. That's always a good idea. Anyway, after the match, Mariah May lined up a cheap shot with Sakazaki with the belt from behind, but Willow Nightingale came out to make the save, and then Mina Shirakawa. Her music hits. Willow Nightingale turns around to look up the ramp. Mariah May cheap shots her with the belt in the back of the head, and then Mina comes out, not looking super happy with Mariah May, looking phenomenal, by the way. Absolute perfection, that woman. But then Mariah May goes up and like is really enthusiastic about greeting her, and I think jumps up like Scooby-Doo on Shaggy style. For a big hug. But Mina, you can tell, is really conflicted with who Mariah May's become. So I'm interested to see how this plays out. Obviously, we're going to get a Mina versus Mariah match because Mariah's going to get sick of Mina criticizing her and attack her at some point. Like, I can see where it's going, but I'm still interested to watch it play out. I hope the Mina-Mariah match gets given a load of time and they get to tell a really good story in there because they're both super talented. Like, I'm not saying Yuka isn't. I'm just saying Mina, even though Mina's not like an AEW mainstay, with how she's been built up and how she's being perceived in the wrestling world at the moment in general, she's a much more credible threat in terms of being able to go 15-20 minutes with Mariah. Anyway, next we cut to the final commercial. Not even the final commercial, they had one in the middle of the match as well, of the night, with 23 minutes left on the show and neither Mox nor Darby Allin in the ring. Mox's entrance begins at 22. So I was like, short main, because, we've got entrances to go yet. Now, there was a 2-minute overrun, and the match, there was a bit more of an overrun, but the match finished at 2 minutes past the hour. So, it probably went borderline 20 minutes, maybe like 18. So not too short, but shorter than I thought it was. Shorter than I thought it was going to be, but with hindsight, I was wrong to expect it to be much longer than that, because honestly, it felt longer than it was. Dare I say, there was even a couple of bits where I was like, this could probably be over now. Not that the match was bad. It just felt like they'd got the message across. And sometimes knowing when you've communicated the message is important. Don't keep drilling home the message after it's been drilled home, after people have understood. Anyway, I was going to do a really long bit there, but my phone's just flashed up. It's on 5% battery, so if my phone dies, I lose my notes and I forget everything. So, forget the bit. Let's move on. Yeah, there was lots of interference by Marina Shafir, which, as JR correctly pointed out on commentary, makes Mox look weaker than he needs to. Like, he doesn't need that help. And I know it's all about that heat, brother, but I don't know, didn't like it. Few big bumps for Darby Allin jumping out the ring with a suicide dive onto exposed concrete and Mox just moving out the way. He's a nutter, that man. He's an absolute nutter. The finish came with Darby going for, I think, like a super duper plex, like really stood up on the top, and then Mox reverses it into like just leaping off the top rope into a Death Rider. Really gnarly, cool finish. Got the 3, and that's what I predicted. So 5 from 5 on Dynamite, baby. Go me. And also my 2 bonus points. I did well. I got 7 out of 5 on Dynamite. Go me. After the match, a mysterious hooded man came out. Who else was it going to be? Bryan Danielson attacked Mox and had like something to strangle him with, like some length of fabric of some description. It might have been a tie, call back to Justin Roberts, I don't know. It could have just been like some piece of fabric, I don't know, but he was choking Mox with it. Then Marina Shafir like tried to drag him off with a rear naked choke, and then obviously Claudio and Pac turned up to make the save. Then Private Party come out, and Commander, and I think there was some others. I didn't notice who else it was. And even the Odds and Chase off the Blackpool Combat Club. Danielson cuts the end of show promo. You wanted a war, you got a war. Gets to drop his traditional weekly F-bomb. I'm sure they've got a deal, like as part of the new deal, they get to drop 1 F-bomb a week, and Danielson's got dibs on the next like 6 months worth, because every single time there's 1 F-bomb on Dynamite, and it's Danielson. But yeah, overall, really fun show. Glad I stayed up and watched it live for 2 reasons. 1, I get to get this video out to you guys when I want it going out. But 2, it was just a fun experience watching it live, and there was no risk of spoilers, like, because I was watching it live, not waking up and being like, ooh, do I risk opening Twitter, you know, blah, blah, blah. Let me know in the comments, though, what you thought of the show. Overall, I don't think anything on this show was weak. Like I say, the women's representation was low, but what they did was good. You know, like, I'm trying to talk in terms of what was presented instead of what should have been presented. And in terms of what was presented, it was good. The only thing I would say is maybe a couple of the matches were short, because this was essentially kind of like half to 2/3 of a pretty decent pay-per-view slammed into just a Dynamite. And it felt a bit rushed at times. I don't know. There was only 5 matches, and there wasn't a lot of guff in between. But yeah, anyway, waffle. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What did you agree with that I've said? What did you disagree with? What did you agree and disagree with that AEW did on this show? Let me know. I'd love to start a conversation about this in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new here. Share with your friends if you think they would enjoy. But for now, all I have left to say is thank you very much for watching. As always, I've been Ebeza. You've been amazing. And I'll see you next time.